Detroit officially has a new shepherd. Today is Wednesday, March 19th. From Ave Maria Radio, this is Michigan Mornings. Good morning from Ishpeming. I'm Matthew Handley. Today is the Solemnity of St. Joseph, the spouse of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Let's begin with the news. Pope Francis' doctors have reduced his use of mechanical ventilation at night and high-flow oxygen therapy during the day, with his health remaining stable but complex. The Holy Father has also begun eating solid food as part of his prescribed diet. Archbishop Alan Vigneron became Archbishop Emeritus yesterday as Detroit welcomed a new shepherd.
The Supreme Pontiff Francis has nominated His Excellency the Most Reverend Edward Joseph Weisenburger, Archbishop of Detroit, in the state of Michigan.
That is Cardinal Christophe Pierre, the Apostolic Nuncio to the United States, reading the decree marking Archbishop Edward Weisenburger as the next Archbishop of Detroit at his installation Mass yesterday in the Cathedral of the Most Blessed Sacrament. I'll have more coverage of Archbishop Weisenburger's homily in the second half of the program. Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan will give his final State of the City address next week. The speech will take place on Tuesday, March 25th at the new Hudson site from 7 to 8 p.m. Duggan is expected to address the city's progress and transformative projects, blight removal, major developments, and the hosting of the NFL draft last year. We'll have special coverage of the speech on Wednesday morning next week here on Michigan Mornings. Food banks in Metro Detroit are under pressure from federal cuts. Focus Hope Food Program Director Frank Kubik says funding for their program that helps 43,000 people a year is in jeopardy from the federal government.
If that goes, those are purchases that help the farmers that typically don't get the help they would need, and then gets the food in areas that typically wouldn't get that kind of food, fresh produce, fruit, vegetables, fish. It has a big impact.
He says they have funding for the next fiscal year from Washington, D.C., but he says other food banks are not as fortunate. Kubik says their local food assistance program is set to end on September 30th. West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey is threatening to sue the NCAA because the West Virginia University basketball team didn't get an invitation to the tournament. Morrisey has directed the state's attorney general to investigate. The North Carolina Tar Heels beat out the Mountaineers for a spot.
West Virginia deserved to be in the NCAA tournament. This was a miscarriage of justice and robbery at the highest levels. Now, who was the last team to get into the tournament ahead of the Mountaineers? That would be the University of North Carolina. UNC had representation in the room during the selection process.
Morrisey is suspicious because North Carolina's athletic director is also the head of the tournament selection committee. The university says this investigation was not their idea, but they are happy to cooperate. In Michigan, Michigan State and the University of Michigan are both participating in the men's basketball tournament, as are the women's teams as well. This is Michigan Mornings from Ave Maria Radio. Now this.
Persecution around the world has manifested itself through the centuries, but it is worse today than ever before. Aid to the Church in Need and its donors have been there to help since 1947, never abandoning the Church or her most vulnerable children. Will you stand up for your faith and accompany our brothers and sisters on their spiritual journey? Visit churchinneed.org. churchinneed.org.
In Detroit, we're looking at partly sunny skies today and a high of 68. Tonight, we'll see some showers roll in after 9 p.m. and our low will dip to 44. Tomorrow, we can expect rain throughout the day and some snow possibly in the evening. Our high will be 46. Friday will be sunny with a high near 53, and the chance of rain and snow returns on Saturday. In the morning, it'll be slightly cooler with a high near 46. In Saginaw today, we're looking at a high of 68 with partly sunny skies. Rain showers are going to roll in tonight, and our temperature will dip to 38. Tomorrow morning, we can expect rain and snow showers, and that'll taper off later in the day. Our high will be 40. Friday will be mostly sunny with a high near 53. The chance of rain returns on Saturday morning. After that, we'll have partly sunny skies. It'll be cooler with a high near 40. Welcome back to Michigan Mornings. I'm Matthew Handley. Archbishop Edward Weisenburger was installed yesterday as the new Archbishop of Detroit. Earlier in the broadcast, I shared part of the decree from Cardinal Christophe Pierre, the Apostolic Nuncio. Now I want to share some of Archbishop Weisenburger's homily. He began by showing appreciation for the warm welcome he has received in Southeast Michigan.
I am very truly humbled to be standing before you. This is not a place I ever envisioned myself being. Detroit was not on my radar, but I've long lived by that old saying, if you want to hear the sound of God's laughter, tell him your plans.
The gospel read at yesterday's Mass was from John 21, where Jesus asks Peter, "Do you love me?" Archbishop Weisenburger commented on how love is asked from all of us.
It seems to me that that's what our risen Lord expects and yearns for in Peter, and by extension, for all those he calls to discipleship and service. But you see, what's true for Peter is not just equally true for me today, but likewise for each of you. A final point, very brief, is this text reminds us there is no true love of Jesus without a willingness to put that love into practice. Jesus never responds to Peter, "Well done, good to know you love me." Rather, any real profession of love for Jesus is always met with a call. Feed my lambs, care for my sheep. And if you continue a few verses later, you discover he even wants Peter to go wherever he will be called, even if it's not on his radar.
That audio courtesy of the Archdiocese of Detroit. We welcome you, Archbishop Weisenburger, to the Archdiocese of Detroit, and from all of us at Ave Maria Radio, be assured of our prayers for you. I'm Matthew Handley. That does it for this edition of Michigan Mornings on a Wednesday. Lord willing, I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Until then, goodbye.